Hey friends, my name is Jemima if you're new here, and welcome to the last poetry reading for my book, Needing My Breakup Song, which is available on Amazon. Fall in love with someone who does not love you. On Wednesday at 3 p.m, I decided I was going to break it off with you. Yes, I will be here. I will show it. This is me, loving you. So it's been a while since I've done a promotion video for my poetry book. I actually started back in March when the book was released, and I posted 6 poetry readings and also discussed some topics from what I've learned from Needy, like my experience with being stuck in a toxic cycle, my fantasies and obsessions, as well as some painful experiences getting ghosted. It was one thing to like put the book together and finally have it out, but once I was then sitting down and reading it out to people, being very vulnerable, after doing that for about 6 weeks, it got to a point where I was just like, this is too much, and it was like emotional overload. Like it was just, it all hit me at once. Like to be in a position where you're genuinely aware that something makes you feel horrible, but not being able to leave. Like it, oh, calm down. I don't want to stay here anymore. I don't want to be. I don't want to be needy. But I decided that I would just do one more topic and share 2 more poems and wrap it up. However, I just couldn't sit down and film the last one. So this book is very personal. It's the first time I've ever like done something like this. And so I've taken the break I needed. Fast forward now, it's October. I'm ready to wrap up my Needy promotions with a nice bow and fully be like, okay, this is done and let's move on to the next chapter. And so today I'm going to be reading 2 poems from the book for you guys, and we are going to DTR. Some people just got shivers after I said that. We are not just talking today. We are having the talk. What are we? And so the first poem I'm going to read to you guys is question mark, and it's on page 19. I wonder what you feel when you look at me, or if you do not feel at all. The moments, are they fun? Am I someone you are glad to have? Or are you here out of pity? There are many questions I want to ask you, but I am scared to know the answers. I know they will hurt me. And the next poem is called Blurry on page 43. I can read in between the lines what you were trying to avoid saying, but making perfectly clear that you feel. I can see that you are happier without me draining your spirit, smiling softer, a look never shown to me. You are annoying, clinging on so tight. Stop bothering me. I understand this is what your actions mean. I will give you the space you need. This time, I will not go back. So basically, these 2 poems are just about not knowing where I stand and feeling confusion. So question mark is literally just about being too scared to have certain conversations and say certain things that are important, like, oh, how do you feel about me? And then with Blurry, this is basically when someone has turned like cold and their actions are disinterest, like they're not responding to texts, they're not initiating dates, and if you do like ask for a date, they're like they're too busy and things like that, where you see that they are happier living a life without you. And Blurry is just coming to terms with the fact that, okay, this person has completely, shut you out in a way, like they have distanced themselves. But at the same time, even though you know this, a conversation has not been had properly either. This is just you still in a way assuming and reading between the lines. And so the main thing is you do not know how this person actually feels. And this is all conversations you're avoiding or things that you have noticed but still not confronting. The truth is relationships are complex. All relationships are, but especially romantic relationships. However, many of us fall into the trap of complicated. Something that's complex is not the same as something that's complicated. The difference being complicated includes things like confusion, fear, pretending, using each other, and more unhealthy behaviors and feelings that should not be in a relationship. In the world of dating, there are many words to describe 2 people that are not officially committed to each other.
And then I got into an entanglement with August.
Entanglement, situationship, friends with benefits, and the list can go on. You know, sometimes two people get together knowing that relationship is the end goal. However, sometimes that has not been spoken about and there's no clarity as to if that is a possibility, and people are just going with the flow. They like each other and now they're seeing each other. But there's also times when one party gets into it knowing that they want a relationship, but they haven't been honest about it. And the other side of it is someone who gets into something knowing they do not want a relationship and are lying about it, or just not upfront saying things like, oh, I don't know if I want a relationship yet, I'm just going to see how it goes, when they know clearly they do not want a relationship. And what makes things even more difficult is that how it starts isn't how it stays. And so you can begin something knowing that, for example, you don't want a relationship. However, during that process, your mind might change. People can change their mind, and that is perfectly fine. And so that's why new romantic relationships has this anxiety, like this uncertainty that some people find really exciting and they're always chasing after it. So this is why the talk is very important, because of human nature. People need to then come back together and reassess the situation and find out if they are still on the same page. Assuming and hoping is the absolute enemy of progress. You should never assume how someone feels about you, either in a positive or a negative way. It's always best to just know by asking them how they feel, because it will lead to a lot more confusion and pain. Like I said, that makes things complicated. For example, if two people meet and start seeing each other and they haven't had the discussion at the start and they've just met and they've just been hanging out and spending time with each other and going with the flow, that's a good place to start. You know, you can really just get to know someone without any pressure. However, if one person knows that they would like to pursue it more seriously down the road, they need to have the conversation. Like, you don't wait for the boy or girl or whoever asks who out first. It's just, if you have the feeling, you should bring it up. If you've been hanging out, testing out compatibility, and you're growing closer, you should not be scared to have this conversation. Like, you know, you might be a bit nervous. However, if you feel like it is the right thing to do, then you should just have the conversation. You need to be able to express your feelings so that you can find out if this person is also interested in you as well. Or if they are not, you can know and then decide what you want to do moving forward. Like, you don't want to be in this awkward phase of, oh, I don't know for too long. Sometimes it does happen that someone's anxiety might just be too high for them and they're not able to have this conversation first. Or they might not be in the rush and they're like, okay, if this person wants this, they will say it. And so they decide to wait for the other person to speak up first if they have feelings. But then sometimes if someone isn't okay with waiting, but they still want the other person to say first, they decide to start manipulating the situation, which is not a good place to be. Like, that's not starting something in a healthy way. Though I understand why some people might decide to wait if they're not necessarily in a rush, if they know they genuinely just have anxiety, if they want to be certain. There might be a lot of reasons why someone might decide to wait. However, I do not think it's a good idea to wait to communicate how you feel about someone. I personally don't think waiting is a good place to be, because you are not getting your needs met. If you are waiting out of fear of rejection, you are going to end up leaning more towards the complicated side and feeling really confused and watching the other person's actions and overanalyzing everything and wondering, okay, does this mean this? Does this mean that? Are they losing interest? Are they liking me more? You will get too much in your head if you decide to wait, because you will always be, you know, eager, on the edge, and not fully like relaxed and settled. And also, being in a relationship is about being honest and having really vulnerable conversations. And so you should be upfront to that person that you have feelings for. You being upfront will show them that you have really good communication skills, that you are able to express how you feel and what your needs are. And that can be a really great foundation for a healthy relationship. The fact that you felt something, you decided that it was time to have the conversation, and you were honest about your feelings, able to accept whether they reciprocate or not. That just shows that you are very mature and you are ready to handle a relationship, because hard conversations will be had, awkward situations will be present, you know. You just have to be able to know that this is worth pursuing and moving forward with. Let's move on to, after you've had the talk, what is that person's response? There are a couple of options, but the main three are they feel the same way and you decide to become official. You guys are now a committed couple. Second is they say, okay, I am feeling you, but I still don't think the time is right. Let's carry on seeing each other. And then the third, which is, you know, our biggest fear, our biggest dread. They don't feel the same way about us. They don't see you as a serious partner. You've done the really mature thing of communicating the change you want, and unfortunately this person's not matched your energy. And you know, they have flat out said they do not want a relationship with you. They have also then been honest with you and made their feelings and what their needs. And so in this scenario, you really only have two options. You either walk away or stay with your lingering feelings, hoping that this person kind of changes their mind. All right, I'm smiling now because I'm about to confess. Basically, y'all, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm toxic, innit? The book is titled Needy. In my previous times, in the previous days, I would choose option 2. I would stay and try to change the person's mind, or believe that eventually, like, they just needed more time just to see how amazing I am, and that once they see how amazing I am, they would not want to lose me. In the past, I very much was in this phase of, if the person said to me they did not want to be in a relationship right now, I genuinely believe that I could change their mind in the long run, because in my head, it just worked out so well. Like, I just didn't see why we shouldn't be together if we like each other. It was like, come on, it's 1 + 1 = 2. But I really got myself torn up with this mindset, and it got really painful just like being in that situation, knowing that, oh, I'm trying to impress this person all the time. I'm trying to show them this is good quality of mine, that if we were together, it would look like this, and just, I'm always on edge. And that resulted in me starting to believe that there was something wrong with me, and that like I was not good enough, because months have gone by and I'm not able to change this person's mind. And like, I just didn't understand why they only wanted to see me once in a while, but didn't actually want to be properly involved in each other's lives. Being in that position of chasing and choosing option 2 of not letting go and holding out for it to become better in the long run mentally F's you up. You will be at your lowest point. You just don't understand why something's not working out, and you blame yourself a lot. I generally started believing the problem was me, and that I'm just not able to get myself a man, when in fact we just wanted 2 different things, and I should have just seen that as, I'm heading this way and he's heading that way. However, I just couldn't get over the idea of, oh, we like each other, it should be good, like it should work out. But I wasn't getting my needs met. That person was still, you know, just chilling with me and seeing me once in a while. When they were bored, they'd hit me up. However, when I needed them and I was struggling and going through something, like, they weren't available for that emotional support. And so I was never happy in that situation. I always felt like I was lacking, and I always had to be saying sorry, and I always was just like never enough. I just became really needy, and you know, that is why the book is titled Needy. Like, when I think back to that phase in my life, like, that's all I can describe it as, like, just this wanting affection so desperately from a certain person, and just not being able to be okay with the fact that they can't give me that, and not walking away, but still always like saying, okay, let's do this, let's try, and it just like not working out, because they're just like, no. For a while I was able to be like, okay, yeah, I think we should try this, we should try this. But after constantly getting rejected, oh no, I don't want that, I don't want that, I just got to a point where, like, you know what, let me just maybe stop saying too much, and stop like requesting so much out of them, and let me just go back to maybe waiting for them to speak up, to maybe for them to have feelings for me. So I decided to give up on trying to get my needs met, as in trying to progress this into like a proper committed relationship. So I convinced myself that if I continue to stay nice, stay loyal, that, you know, eventually they will realize that they have feelings for me, because, you know, I'm such a down-to-earth girl. Like, come on. I started to think that, okay, it was probably just because I'm being too pushy and I'm scaring them away. Let me give them some time. Honestly, y'all, when I look back, I just think about the fact is, the first time I had this conversation with that person, I should have decided to just walk away and just left it at that, because me choosing option 2 of waiting, just trying to see if I can change their mind in general, that just led to a long phase that should not have even happened. But, you know, I didn't know any better. I didn't realize that not making the right decision the first time would land me in such a toxic cycle of just always trying to plead my case to someone. When you are mature enough, brave enough to have a conversation with someone, you also need to be mature and brave enough to accept their answer and respond in a healthy way that won't lead you further down. If someone says that they don't want something, do not try to change their mind. You do not have to force someone to see the good qualities in you. It is that simple. If they say no, ciao. Let that be the stance. Because from my experience, I learned that just having the talk isn't enough. You have to decide that if your needs are not met, or if things are not aligning completely to what you want, and you know there's no way for you to compromise on it, instead of waiting or settling, you need to choose your sanity. There is so much anxiety and stress that comes with it's complicated. Your mental health is so important. Peace is absolute treasure. Like, that should be something you seek to be in. Like, you don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation. You don't want to always be scared. You don't want to not feel safe. That is not what you want out of a relationship. So if you ever get into a situation where you've expressed and it's not being reciprocated, be proud of yourself for having that conversation, but also make sure that you are your priority and looking after yourself is a priority, and that you cannot be in something that does not meet your needs. You have to choose to look after yourself and walk away. Waiting is not ideal. I don't promote being in a situation that does not align with what you want. When you get into that situation, think, I choose me. And so yeah, that's the only advice I can give y'all. Like, I'm still a helpless romantic. Oh, God help me. God save me from my fantasies, honestly. And like, I know there's no perfect guide to doing relationships. Like I said, all I've learned is to express myself clearly. I am really good at that. If I like you, I will tell you. There's no need for me to hide. It is just the aftermath that I struggle with of, oh, okay, they don't like me too. In that aspect, I need to then learn to just choose myself and not like be settling for a situationship, entanglement. No matter their response, I know that I will guard my heart and I will be my #1 priority. I want to keep my mind at peace. I'm in this 25th chapter of life, and peace is priority to me. Like, I don't have the mental energy to be drained anymore by my toxicness. So I still be struggling with my fantasies. Just pray for me. Your girl struggles still to letting some things go, but I am doing better. You know, I am very proud of myself. I do learn to be okay with being ghosted and not try to change their mind. Okay, you want to ghost me? Okay, bye. So with that, we've come to the end of the last poetry reading for Needy, my breakup song. Yay! Promotions are finally wrapped up. This is my present to my younger self, to anyone else who wants to connect with the journey. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the poems and want to support me, Needy, my breakup song is available on Amazon by Jemima Lola. And also check out the previous videos if you haven't already, where I share more poems with you guys and a little bit about my story. I hope that sharing this book, my Needy experience, it will be helpful to anyone who is struggling or healing. The main thing for me is that I just want to continue to encourage people to love themselves like as they are. Before I go, I just want to emphasize once more that there is nothing wrong with having needs. It is just important to know that if it comes from a place of seeking external validation, it can become toxic, and then you start to fall on the side of needy. If you enjoy this poetry reading video and want to see more from me, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring in the notification bell so you know when I post, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!